Russia has thrown a pointed legal challenge at the United Nations, asking whether the principle of self-determination, applied to Greenland, can also be recognized for the peoples of Donbass, Novorossiya, and Crimea. Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov says Moscow formally raised the question to test what it calls consistency in international law. The comparison is deliberate and the timing sharp, as Russia seeks clarity on where global rules truly stand.
We submitted a formal written question to Mr. Guterres on whether only territorial integrity mattered in the UN Charter, while the right of nations to self-determination and other principles, including the sovereign equality of states, did not.
The response from the United Nations was swift and categorical. Secretary General Antonio Guterres said the UN's legal office concluded that self-determination does not apply to Crimea or Donbass. In these cases, he said, territorial integrity prevails. The UN drew a clear line, arguing, Greenland's status cannot be compared to territories internationally recognized as part of Ukraine.
There are two principles that are essential. One principle is territorial integrity of states. The other principle is self-determination of peoples. But self-determination of peoples has a number of requisites. So the way it is defined has a number of requisites. And after a very careful study by our Office of Legal Affairs, it is our position that the principle of self-determination does not apply in the situations of Crimea and Donbass. So in that situation, the principle that prevails is the principle of the territorial integrity of Ukraine.
Lavrov rejected that distinction outright. He said, the UN Secretariat and its leadership are, in his words, openly playing into the hands of those who want to preserve the Nazi regime in Ukraine. Moscow argues that the UN's interpretation selectively elevates one legal principle over another, effectively closing the door on debates about the will of populations in contested regions.
The UN Secretariat and its senior officials have been clearly playing into the hands of those who want to keep Ukraine's Nazi regime in power, even if this does not fall within the Secretary General's purview.
The Greenland comparison has become central to Russia's case. Greenland enjoys internationally accepted self-determination within Denmark, including the right to decide its future through referendums. Russia says that precedent exposes double standards when similar arguments are dismissed elsewhere, especially in territories Moscow now controls or claims to represent.
We have recently submitted yet another formal question to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres and his team, stating that if they have been saying in public that he and his senior executives at the UN recognize the right of the people of Greenland to self-determination, and if that it is up to the people of Greenland to decide on their own destiny, instead of leaving it to someone else, does the United Nations recognize that people in Donbass, Novorossiya, and, of course, Crimea, enjoy the same rights?
This exchange underscores a deeper fracture between Russia and global institutions. The UN's stance reaffirms support for Ukraine's territorial integrity, while Russia frames the decision as political, not legal. The result is a widening diplomatic rift, one that hardens positions and signals how far apart interpretations of international law have now drifted.